Hello, welcome back. We have just a few more chapters to go. This is topic 8, and it is about probability, data, statistics, all kinds of those things. So here is a list of data. This is a data set. We are able to do quite a few things with this, but the first thing is always students must put their numbers in order. I've told them also that as they write them, they should check them off so that they know that they have gotten all the numbers, because it is difficult to keep track of everything. All right, so the first thing they will do in every single problem is put them in order. All right, so here is our data set now that is in order. Okay. We are going to start by looking at measures of center. So measures of center are things such as mode, median, and the mean. We looked at these last year in 5th grade. Okay? So these are centers of measure. We also have a lovely little poem that most of the students are able to tell you. So, hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle. You add and divide for the mean. The mode is the one you see the most often, and the range is the difference between. So we have this up in our classroom. Each student has their own copy. They should be using this to help memorize, because this will not be available for the test. They should be using this to memorize which word means what. Alrighty, so for our mode, it means the most. Who shows up the most often? And when we're looking at our data set, I can see that these show up twice and 15 shows up twice. So that means I actually have 2 modes in this case, 12 and 15, because they are the most, the number that shows up the most. You can have multiple modes. You can have no modes. It just depends on what data set that you are working with. All right, median means the middle. So that's why it is very important to always put the numbers in order. And then we use our fancy finger trick, and we just scoochie through, matching up one on either side, and we're left with 13. So 13 is our median. If there are 2 numbers that are in the middle, you're going to average those. But if it's odd, it will work out exactly. If it's even, you're gonna have to take the average of those 2 numbers. So if it is even, you're going to have to scoochie this over, take the average, which is to add them up and divide by 2. Okay. Alrighty, now the mean takes a little bit more time. The mean is the average, which means we're going to add up all of our numbers. Right, so I actually added mine up already, and I always ask the students, actually I didn't. I actually asked the students to please tell me their sum, just in case they've made a mistake. I can see what numbers they're working with, and I will go with their numbers. So the sum is 91. So when I add this up, I get 91. And then I'm going to divide by the amount of numbers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So I'm going to divide by 7. And when we do that, it actually works out exactly to 13. So our mean is 13. These are known again as measures of center. The range just tells us how many numbers are in our data set, or how far the spread is, I should say. So you take your largest number, which is 15, and you take the difference between the biggest and the smallest number, which is 10, and that leaves us with a range of 5. Those are measures of center. Now, we can also go on from there And we can do a few more things with these numbers. We can list the minimum. So the minimum is 10. The maximum is 15. And now I'm going to look at something called quartiles. Quartiles, we have Q1, Q2, and Q3. There are 3 different quartiles. Q2 is actually the median. So either of those words could be used to describe this number. We've already found the median. It was 13, so let's go ahead and use that. Now, what I've told the students to do is always circle the median. Right? Sometimes the median happens in between numbers, and then they're not going to have anything to circle because we didn't use one of our numbers. But if there is a number that is your median, you're going to circle it. Now, to find the Q1, we're going to find the middle of the lower half. So the lower half is here. And again, using our fancy finger trick, these two, and then this one's left. So this is our Q1. So Q1 was the 12. And on the other hand, here was our median. So this is going to be Q3 is the middle of the upper half. Fancy finger trick, and we're left with 15 is our Q3. Okay. Now, there's something else we can do with these numbers. This is something called the IQR, inner quartile range. Just like our range here is the difference between the top and the bottom, the IQR is the difference between our Q3 and our Q1. And this is a measure of variability. So our Q3 here is 15 minus our Q1, which is 12. And so our IQR is 3. Okay, so that's a measure of variability. All right, now we're going to actually make a box plot. And so I'm going to erase this measures the center for a moment. And all right, with our box plot, we're going to be using the quartiles. This is the numbers we're going to need. So I can see my smallest number is 10, my biggest number is 15. So I'm just going to draw a number line from 10 to 15. You could have more numbers if you'd like, but they should be spaced evenly, hopefully. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our Q1. So our Q1 is 12, so we come to 12 and put a vertical line. Our Q2 is 13, so we're going to put a line there. And our Q3 is 15. And we're going to connect those lines. Okay, that's the first part. Now, our minimum is 10, so we're going to come out here in the middle of the box and put a dot at 10. And normally, most of the examples we've done, we had a line this way going to our maximum, but our maximum is actually 15, so it's right there. So there's no whisker on this one, on that side. Alrighty, so this is known as a box plot, and we have talked about that also. Students will need to be able to construct box plots. They must always, yes, you have to construct it, but I need to see these written out every single time. It is not just draw the box. I have to see these so I can easily see what their numbers were. All right. Now, we talked about histograms and frequency tables. So let me move over here for a second. So a histogram is really just a bar graph, except they're touching. So a histogram is something like this. This would be a histogram. And again, it's on a number line. you're able to see what range numbers are in. So for instance, maybe this is 10 to 12, this is 13 to 14, oops, 11, sorry. So 10 to 12, 13 through 15, and then 16 through 18, and then 19 through 21, something like that. They have to be even ranges to be in a histogram, and usually they have come from a frequency table. A frequency table has tally marks, 1, 2, 3, 4 slash, and then they write the frequency. And then frequency would be 5. So for instance, the interval using over here might be 10 to 12 here. So 10 to 12 had 5, and we write the tally marks and then the frequency. Alrighty, then things get a little bit trickier. I believe I'm actually going to stop this video, and I will come back with a new video where we're going to look at the measures of center and the measures of variability. Okay, so measures of center were our mean, median, and mode. Measures of variability, I mentioned the IQR, interquartile range, but we're also going to take a look at the mean absolute deviation. So I will load a new video or a second video with this part of the information.